Okay, so I have some interesting stuff. The world's oldest, probably the world's oldest convocation speech from the ch3 Upanishad. And so before I do that, I know that a few of you are new to the classes. I have a blog in which I have all of these lectures. I've been doing this for 8 years now, but I probably have about 5 to 6 years of those lectures in a blog. So you can access it anytime. I'll just write down the name here. So it's Indian Renaissance.com. It's both one. You can use it as one word or dash Renaissance. It'll take you to the same site. So if you go there, you can access lectures from at least the last, I would say, 5 to 6 years. Whole Kathopanishad, 50 classes of Kathopanishad is there. Kenopanishad, Ishavasya Upanishad, some earlier Gita classes. I went through specific chapters of the Gita class, in 2006 and 2007. So all of those, I think that is missing. But after that, from 2008, everything is there. And the second thing is, if you're not receiving my emails, if you're not in the distribution list and you want to be, I send out reminder once every 2 weeks or when we have any special occasions. So if you want to be in that, then just give me your email so I can add it to it. I'm not going to spam. I just send once every 2 weeks or something. Okay, so with that, now last class we were studying about the third topic in the Karma Yoga, right? The third chapter, third topic. And that was what? That was the concept of role models, right? And so Krishna started the third chapter with the, Arjuna's confusion on which kind of action should I be performing. We're looking at the knowledge can be acquired through one kind of action: reading, contemplation, meditation, fasting, vrata, puja, and all of those things. That's one kind of action. And then here we have another kind of action, which is going to war, social reforms, all of these kinds of actions, which Krishna was asking Arjuna to go do, and Arjuna did not connect between how going to a war equals, getting knowledge. Yeah, meditation, contemplation, reflection, all of these things lead to understanding, but how about going to war leading to understanding? So, that's what the first topic of the third chapter was. And we also saw one important concept there, and that is what? Actions are default, inactions are not. Very, very interesting stuff, because we usually think inaction is default, action is, you need effort to do action. But it is actually the other way, according to Krishna. To be inactive, it takes effort. But to be active is natural. The inactivity that we have is only followed by activity. It's kind of recovering, resting. But once you take a lot of it, then you'll be so bored that you'll be, again, trying to do something. Right? So activity is natural and default for all of living beings. And inactivity is not. Inactivity actually needs effort. So it's kind of a revelation, right? So that's one thing. In the second topic was the very important concept of yajna, right? Yajna, just like a creed or belief system is the core of any religion, yajna or actions, a certain kind of actions, are a core of traditions, right? And we discussed during the beginning of the third chapter, we discussed the difference between religions, which are belief systems, and traditions, which are action-based, right? So we discussed that, and the Hindu Dharma is a tradition, it's not a religion, because it's not a belief system. We went through all those discussions. And so the important core in a tradition is yajna. Yajna is nothing but set of actions that are carried from one generation to another. Krishna expands the concept of yajna into so many different things. It's not just dravya yajna. We only know of, putting all these dravyas into the fire, and homa. That becomes yajna, right? That's not the only yajna. There is a yajna, concept of yajna, where it encompasses every activity that you do, right? That's what the second topic was, that Krishna said. And what was the second topic? And what was the reason for the second topic? The reason was, he said, any activity can be transformed into a sensible activity through a yajna. Right? And last time we saw, any activity has three ways of looking at it. Right? One is tamasic way, rajasic way, sattvic way. Right? Anything is always divided into tamasa, rajasa and sattvika. And what is the tamasic way of activity? What is the undercurrent of tamas?
Desire.
No, tamas. Ignorance, right? Ignorance is. Rajasa is desire, sattva is jnana. So the undercurrent of tamas is ajnana. That means any activity which is a chore, which is senseless, meaningless, becomes painful, becomes what? Tamasic, right? So, and one of the examples was doing, living from paycheck to paycheck, doing because there's no other way, there's no heart in it, but you just doing this as a chore, a physical labor. That is tamasa. Rajasa is where desire and self comes in, right? Where you have the motivation is self, the motivation is getting stuff, self-aggrandizement, all of those selfish things becomes rajasa. That means, in work, it is career development, all of those things. The career path is basically rajasa. And sattvika is what? Sattvika by very nature, what does it do? Knowledge, but what does it do? It transcends self. When you say yajna, from dhatu yaj, means to offer. What does yajna mean? When you are offering, you are transcending yourself. You are transcending self. You are transcending the narrow, vision of just the self, oneself, and going to a more meaningful way of acting. Right? That is what sattva is. And if you look at it, the Pancha Mahayajnas, are they sattvika yajna, activities, rajasika activities or tamasika activities? Are they sensible or not? Pancha Mahayajnas.
And some are also sattvic.
No, all of them are sattvic. Because see, it takes your gaze from a very narrow-minded self-obsession to a very transcending self and a very higher sensible action, right? Deva Yajna, man and nature. You are not like, 9 to 5 job, paycheck to paycheck, I got to do this, I have to do the payment to this bank, mortgage. That's not. It takes your vision from that to, I am a part of nature, I have to give back to nature as I am getting things from nature. The vision is now transcending self. It's just not me doing this 9 to 5 job, that becomes rajasa or even tamasa, right? Pitru yajna. Again, my duty to have all the culture, the language, the rituals and all of those things that came through my family from, the Pitrus, the forefathers, have that transmitted to the later generations. Again, this is not a 9 to 5 thing. It is a vision that transcends self, that is more meaningful, that is more sensible, right? It's a higher vision. Right? Bhuta Yajna, man as a part of animal kingdom, man relationship with the other animals, right? And then Manusha Yajna, with the society in which you are, man's relationship with other human beings. And then Rushi Yajna. Rushi Yajna is our duty to transmit the wisdom that we have got to the successive generations. See, none of these activities are insensible. Right? Because if somebody says you have to do Pancha Mahayajnas, they'll say, oh my God, another ritual that I have to do every day. Right? But by the very nature, yaj means to transcend self. If you say, oh my God, I got to do this, I have to do it because, because it's a ritual that has come in the family, I got to do it. What is that attitude? Exactly, right? The very nature of yajna is to transcend self and become sattvika, the activity. But by transforming it from a sattvika to something that I got to do every Sunday, I got to do every day, or I got to do every Thursday, or whatever, you're transforming actually a self-transcending activity into a tamasic ignorant activity, right? So Panchamaha yajnas, by their very nature, makes living sensible and meaningful. And if they cease to be that, you are no longer doing the Panchamaha yajnas. Right? You cannot just throw something outside in the backyard and say, oh, I'm done with my Bhuta Yajna. Animals will come and eat, and that's it. That attitude is completely opposite of what is needed for Yajna. Right? Yajna is a very conscious, meaningful, sensible activity. It is not a meaningless, ignorant activity or a selfish activity. Right? So it is by its very nature self-transcending. Right? Yaj means to offer. You are offering because it is transcending self. Right? That was the second topic. The third topic that we came to is the concept of role models. So what Krishna is saying is, hey, you got to go to war, because war, if done as a yajna, as a sensible activity, is actually a knowledge acquiring activity. How? Because you can go to war three ways. As something, oh, you got to do because I'm getting a paycheck to do it. In Arjuna's case, it's not that. Or because I want to kill the enemies and acquire their wealth and acquire their land, which was Arjuna's dilemma, right? Arjuna was thinking that they are going to war because of that. Or you can have a higher vision of what? You are stopping evil in its tracks, and then you are setting examples for the society. It is a social reformation activity. So what Krishna is doing is, hey, this activity which you think is for your own, acquiring land or wealth, is not that. You can transform it into a dharma yuddha or a yajna, where it transforms into what? It transforms into a meaningful activity where you are doing social reformation, not acquiring power. Right? So that is, it's the same war, the same activity, but three different attitudes. And Krishna is saying, it is as simple as changing the attitude, is as difficult as changing those attitudes. You'll see that in the next few verses. It's simple, but it's very, very difficult. And he tells us the reason why. So this is the second topic. Understood? Any questions on that? Okay? So the next one flows from this. The next one is what? The concept of role models. Now, Arjuna has a dual role in society. Not only is he is a warrior to fight the evil and be a social reformer in that sense, he is also setting example to the society to follow. Right? And that's where Krishna's verse number 11 comes, right? Yadyad acharati shreshtaha tat tadeva itaro janaha sa yat pramanam kurute lokaha tad anuvartate. That means shreshta is one that the society holds as a great human being. What does it do? Society says yadyad acharati shreshta, whatever these great men do, tat tadeva itaro janaha, all the masses, they follow their example. It is subconscious, right? Last time I showed you an example. I said keep it at your cheek, and you all kept it here at the chin. Why? Because people follow what you do, not what you say, right? Our instinct is to mimic, not to understand and then do, right? So setting an example is walking the walk is enough. People will follow that example. That's what Krishna is going to say later on also. But that's what he's saying. The whole concept is people mimic actions. Right? So that has more powerful, it's more louder than actually telling somebody something. actions speak louder than words, exactly what Krishna is saying. So, sayat pramanam kurute, whatever they say, that this is how I acquired my greatness, lokaha tad anuvartate. The common man, loka means common man, the mass of people, tad anuvartate. They follow that example. And I said, in the end of last class, it was like, if the future generations do not have a role model, they are as good as destroyed. Right? And that is where the Taittiriya Upanishad comes. Because in the Gurukula system or in the society, at that time, the concept of role model was inherent, institutionalized within the society, within the education system. Right now, the space is being acquired by who? Film stars? Who's their role model now? Shah Rukh Khan? Salman Khan? Or Dhoni? Or whoever, right? Some of them may be good. Dravid is good. But the thing is, if there is no institutionalization of this, then whoever comes to power, by the sheer dint of that power, becomes a role model and sets an example for generations. And that's the way to collapse. Right? But in order to not have that, the concept was institutionalized. That means a person who is dharmika, who is good, was made into a shrestha. The institution itself made him into, it's just like, people who studied in India, whoever, we call geeks here, were the people we looked up to. Right? We did not look up to people, a person who ran 100 meters fastest as the person to copy. Right? It was a guy who got 100 out of 100. Right? So that was the guy to look up to. So it was kind of, the mentality is institutionalized for a good or for, bad, whatever, but that is there. That is the institutionalization. Who do you look up to? Normally, naturally. That is the role model. Who is taking up the space now? Because there is a lack of the institutionalization of the concept of role model. Now, in that context, I want to play, it's about, probably 3 minutes, Taittiriya Upanishad. Hopefully this Windows 8 is kind of... Okay, let me see if it works. No, this is just a MP3, yeah, that's it. Okay, it's here. 2 minutes. So that's the Shanti mantra. But so understood? So that is the world's oldest convocation speech. So Veda Manucha Acharya Ante Vasinam Anushasti. That means the Shishya has lived in the Gurukula, for all these years, 16 years, and then Dwadasha Varshya, so 12 years, not 16 years, and then at the end of that, he's now going back to society, to do his duties in society. And this is one last advice that the Guru is giving Shishya. That Matra Deva Bhava, Pitra Deva Bhava is from here. Atithi Deva Bhava is from Taittiriya Upanishad, convocation speech. Right? So now, he's saying one last thing. I'll give you 2 minutes speech, he says. And what he's saying, Vedam Anuchya, after teaching Vedas and all of those good things in the Gurukula, Acharya Ante Vasinam Anushasti. Ante Vasin means student. Anushasti. He's instructing. What is it? Satyam Vada. Always speak the truth. Dharmam Chara. Always follow the path of Dharma. Then Swadhyayat Ma Pramada. Mada means what? Being careless, ignoring. Right? Swadhyaya. That means self-learning is a habit for life. Never stop learning. Swadhyayam Ma Pramada means never, you are never too great to learn. Right? Swadhyaya. To learn for oneself. Always you need to be in the learning attitude. Swadhyayam Ma Pramadaha. Then Acharyaya Priyam Dhanam Akritya. After giving Acharya the Dakshina that he likes, Priyam Dhanam, Prajatantum Ma Vyavachetsi. Don't stop begetting kids. Prajatanti means lineage. You need to have kids so that the next generation takes over. So you need to have the Prajatanti. Right? And then Prajatantum Ma Vyavachetsi. Satyan na pramaditavyam. Again, do not be careless about truth. Dharman na pramaditavyam. Do not be careless about following the path of dharma. Do not say that in this circumstance it's fine. That this is fine attitude. That is not there. You never have that attitude for satya, for dharma. Then kushalan na pramaditavyam. For your comforts, you need to pay attention to have a comfortable life. Right? Bhutyena pramaditavyam. That means, bhuti means what? Earn wealth. To have wealth and to do good, that bhuti, do not be careless or ignore your responsibility to earn and make a good living. And then, swadhyaya pravachanabhyam na pramaditavyam. Whatever you learn, don't ignore teaching others. Right? This is what Rishi. So if you look at this instruction, all the 5 yajnas are coming here. Right? Swadhyaya na pramaditavyam, deva pitrukaryabhyam na pramaditavyam. Deva yajna, pitru yajna. Deva karya, right? To the devatas who are the forces of nature. So man's duties to nature. Pitrukarya, man's duties to the society or the things that we have inherited from our forefathers. Na pramaditavyam. Do not do any pramada there. Ignore or be careless about it. Then Matru Devo Bhava. Honor mother as you honor the devatas. Pitru Deva Bhava. Honor the father as you honor the devatas. Acharya Devo Bhava. Honor the guru as you honor the devatas. Atithi Deva Bhava. Honor the guest as you would treat the devatas with honor. And then yani anavadhyani karmani tani sevitavyani. So from here it starts. What kind of karma you should be doing? Don't go and start taking bribes. Right? Anavadhyani karmani means legal things. Do things that are dharmic, legal things. Tani sevitavyani. No itarani, not others. Right? All only dharmika karmas, not others. Yani asmakagam sucharitani tani tvaya upasyani no itarani. This is fantastic. Guru says here, hey, I am a human being too. I make mistakes also. I commit mistakes. So, yani asmakam sucharitani, the good things that I have done, tani sevitavyani. Right? Tani tvaya upasyani. Follow those good things. No itarani. No? Don't go to college and if the professor smokes, you learn the smoking. Learn what he's teaching in the class. He's basically saying that. Now he's saying, I'm also human being. I have my own flaws. Focus on the good things. If I have done good things, then focus on that. And if it is worthy of following, follow that. Beautiful. This is very good. And then he says, no itarani. Ekecharu matshreyaha sa brahmanaha tesham toya asanena prashvasitavyam. That is, if there is somebody who has a lot of learning, he says, give him an asana. That means honor him and learn from him. Right? And then, shraddhaya deyam. Dana comes, right? Here, yajna, he's talking about yajna, now dana. Shraddhaya deyam. Give with honesty. Ashraddhaya deyam. Even if you don't feel like it, that's fine. Don't go by your feelings. Even then give. Right? If you have shraddha, good, you give. Even if you don't have shraddha, even then it is important to give. So, ashraddhaya deyam. Then, shriya deyam. Don't be stingy. Shreyas, in Srimanta. That means, give commensurate to your level. Right? If you are a millionaire, don't give $10 stuff. Give equivalent. Shriya deyam. Right? And then, khriya deyam. Give in, shyness. Khri means shyness. That means, don't give in pride. Give anonymously. It should not be for name. It should be for, it should not be for pride. Khriya deyam. Bhiya deyam. Give in fear. Give realizing that if you do not, what is going to happen? Bhiya deyam. Samvida deyam. That means, give with all understanding. What is the understanding in dana? Desha kala patra. That means, where you give, when you give, and to who you give is very important. That's samvida deyam. If you give a hungry guy something that he cannot make any use of, or if you give a millionaire food, annadana, it is what? Vrita vrishti samudreshu vrita truptasya bhojanam. It is useless. There is no patrata. Patrata means a person should be, he should have the, the deserve. He should deserve what we are giving. So that is patrata. When? Do not give sweater in summer. Or, where? Again. Do not give something which is not relevant in that place. So, desha kala patra. So, samvida deyam. Understand all of this when you give. Right? And then, let's see what it is. Here. Atha yadite karma vichikitsa va vritta vichikitsa va syat. That means, if anywhere, at any time in your life, there is a karma vichikitsa, vritta vichikitsa. That means, if you have any confusion about what to do, how to behave, vritta vichikitsa, karma vichikitsa vasyat, etatra brahmanaha sammarshinaha. Look at those learned people, sammarshina, who contemplate a lot, who reflect and contemplate about life a lot, yuktaha, ayuktaha, that means, who have performed the karma yoga, right? Yatha te teshu varteran, yatha te tatra varteran, tatha tatra vartetaha. That means, just like they have acted, you follow whatever they did. So whenever you are confused, you need to look at people who are really good that you know, and who have done good things, who are dharmikas, and what they have done in such a situation, you follow that. Can also apply to Rama as a role model, right? We had a discussion last time. What did he do in those life situations? See, any of the avatars is about human life and human choices and all of those things, right? Krishna, what Krishna did, Rama did, all of the other people, whatever they did, all the stories in Mahabharata is about what happens in society and what are the choices they made. And so, nobody has perfect answers. What this says is, nobody has perfect answers. Look at these different examples and see which one can be followed. When you are confused, look for inspiration to only those people who deserved to be role models, not any others. Right? Now, what he is saying, role models are what? Sammarishinaha, yukta, ayukta. That means they are dharmikas. Alukshaha means when you ask them a question, they don't get angry. Right? It's like, they have patience to explain. Aluksha, dharmakama. Dharmakama means they desire to follow the path of dharma. Only such people you need to follow what their actions in that particular situation was, in which you are confused. This is institutionalization of role models, where you are telling the student, hey, if you have a confusion, look at these guys who the society, chooses as role models because they are dharmikas, they are ayuktas, they are yuktas, they are sammarishinas, and therefore they are worthy to be followed. And then again he says, atha abhyakyateshu ye tatra brahmanaha sammarishinah yukta ayuktaha aluksha dharmakamasyu yatha te teshu varteran tatha teshu vartetaha. That means abhyakyatya means it is like when nishiddha karma, like papa karma, to know whether this is good to do or not good to do. When you have a confusion about that, what to do, what not to do, in terms of evil or nishiddha karma, then again he is repeating the same thing. Look at the dharmikas, look at the choices they made and why they made it, and just follow them. That is their solution. That is the solution. You cannot go and look at books. You need to have living examples of people who have been in similar situations and have done extraordinary things that inspire society. They are the role models, not somebody with power. Right? And then, Yesha Adesha, Yesha Upadesha, Yesha Vedopanishad. This is the final instruction that I am giving you. Take it and implement it in your life. So this is the convocation speech that the Guru is giving the student before he departs from the Gurukula. Any question on this? You need to have questions, come on. No?
I'm wondering how much of this is graduating from India, right? The universities have never heard such a complication. Now, how old, especially being the oldest?
Taittiriya Upanishad. This is, who knows when it was. It was more than 2,500 years at least. Right? So this is where, this is institutionalization of these things in the society, and with the understanding that future needs this. For the society to sustain, these things need to happen, these structures need to be there, these individuals need to be there. They contemplated, they systematized it, and all of those things are there in the Upanishads. These are all about, how society is built. It's not some mystic thing, right? These are practical things that you need for society to be built. And, whatever he's saying here is normal, right? Everyday society is normal. And that's what he's saying. When in doubt, do like what they did. Right? What would Krishna do? They're asking that question. What this one is asking.
I think it's very even applied to modern days, I think.
Exactly, right?
There was an example that I heard that there was a train station and this old man was reading the Ramayana. And then the young man comes, what do you think? Were you reading Ramayana? Oh, that's an old book, why are you reading? It's just a story or that. And then the train came and then they both got on. And 5 minutes later, all of a sudden, the young man stopped the train. He said, "What's the matter?" "Oh, I forgot to pick my wife up. My wife didn't get on the train." So the old man said, "If you'd read the Ramayana, you would make this mistake." He said, "Well, is it in the Ramayana?" He said, "Yeah." He said, "When Ram actually went to the boat, he said, Vira Chade Chade Gurai." First he got Sita on the boat, and then he followed. That's just one little example.
Exactly. Right?
I mean, the law, I think that's the way of living, really.
That is right. I mean, this is timeless. This is applicable, at any time, and this is the greatest advice you can give to any of the kids. I mean, it's relevant to all of us, right? Kids who are now going to college, who are graduated from college, whatever. This is what they need to. That is why it is so very important to establish role models, and especially if kids look at who parents, right? They do what the parents do, not what they say.
Yeah, the issue is how to distinguish what a role model is today, because normally you said that people mimic, what. So the popular belief in the society may be the movie actor is your role model. So everybody now joins the thing, so it's very difficult for you to kind of get away from that, right?
Right, yeah, exactly. Yeah, because
fundamental value. How do you distinguish who the role model is? In
Right.
a society that has already made a movie actor popular.
yeah, a pop singer, a movie actor,
Cricket actor,
yeah, cricket players, whatever. So it is, that's why it is an active thing. It is not passively, things happening. It is actively society, the elders in the society, the thinkers in the society, the intellectuals in the society, they made sure that there is a system in which people who are the dharmikas are made into great people, not the ones with power, right? See, the real power is not with the king. The real power in that society was with the learned people, because they did not have to bow in front of anybody, right? So that was the real power. The learned people were respected first, then the kings, right? So power takes the second role. First role is knowledge, right? So knowledge is the first one, right? And then the knowledgeable is the one who gets the role model, the role of a role model, not the one with power, not the one who doesn't have the character to be a role model. It all depends on who the society, sensationalizes as a great guy, right? Because whoever is in the media, in the news, naturally he is the one, or he or she is the one that everybody follows, right? Maybe it's a pop singer, or an athlete, or anybody. When they are in the media, we follow them. But I don't know how, at least in the Indian community it is even more lacking, because tell me who is good example of role model for Hindus. We keep Vivekananda out, right? Today. See, the very fact that we cannot remember one name other than Gandhi and Vivekananda and all that.
Narendra Modi.
Oh my God.
Sonia Gandhi.
Right? Right? So this is really troubling. I mean, even though...
Indian.
Right? No, but don't we feel that this is really, even though we are all laughing about it, this is a serious stuff, right? I mean, the lack of a role model that we can point to and say, hey, this is the guy I want to be.
If you can't in current time, so by default Rama is a role model.
Rama, see, the thing, the idea of role model is something who you are relatable to, right? Arjuna is too big for me. Rama is even bigger for me, right? For me, somebody who is like me but was achieved, right? That's not Arjuna. That's not Krishna. That's not Rama. That's somebody who is like me and gone through similar situations, or all of those things. In today's world, I need such an example, and we are lacking that.
I mean, maybe there's not just one example, but let's say, be it an actor or athlete or whatever, if they do good things, then as you said, like, look at the good things that they've done.
Right.
and copy those. Don't look at the other part of that.
Right.
Maybe that's
Maybe
that's we look at all the good things that people do.
Every person has positives or negatives. So if you can just take the positives in a person, that becomes a role model. Like he was talking about politicians, a lot of positives in being a free scholar to a big politician. So
Yeah, right.
he worked hard. So every person has positives or negatives. So if you can just focus on the positive qualities.
Right. But the thing is, it needs to be established, right? That there is a lack of that. It's not a system in the society to have.
It's scattered.
Yeah, it is like, because, we don't study it in our books. It's not a part of education system. It's not a part of media. So who has the responsibility to create this? Right? So, that's the thing. So that is what is lacking.
No systematic approach.
Exactly. There is no systematic approach. Exactly. That's what it is.
Compared to Christianity, they have system.
Exactly. Yeah. If Western societies, they always, show the role models. Yeah. Exactly. They do that. Yeah.
Even Muslims have, kind of thing. But
They have their own kind. That's fine.
yeah, I'm just saying. For us, nothing. Just
Yeah.
neither this side, not that
That's
side.
it.
We're copying the Western style.
In the lack of it, right? In the lack of it, whoever somebody says, "Oh, this is big," we follow that.
It's difficult to have a national role model. Even in America, if you see, for blacks, Obama is a role model.
Yeah.
But if you look at the Republicans and stuff,
No, you don't need to have one. You need to have many that is identified. If somebody asks who's your role model, you need to be able to say, "Oh, yeah. So I've studied this in your history. I know their life stories. I know their struggles. And I know how they came up. And now that's what inspires my life." That's all you need, right? That's all you need. So that when you are in similar situation, you can look up to them. You can take inspiration from their work. You can look at what they did, and then also follow such things. That is very important.
So maybe the thing is we have to be role models.
No, yeah. At least until the kids stop looking at us, at some certain age, we got to be that, right? You cannot say, "Hey, do that," and then in the next minute you do the very opposite thing, and that's setting a wrong example. Yeah. So that is a dual responsibility, right? It's not only as a parent that you make a living, you earn, so that you can feed your kids. You have a role as a role model for your kids as well. So that's a dual thing. That's what Krishna is saying. Arjuna is not just defeating the evil, but also setting an example. Both are very important. Okay. So now Krishna is saying, the next 3 verses are very interesting. He says, "Name partha asti kartavyam trishu lokeshu kinchana na anavaptam avaptavyam varta evacha karmani." Now he is giving his own example. Hey Arjuna, you at least have a kartavya, right? You are born in society. You are bound by karma. Look at me. I'm not bound. I'm the Paramatma himself, right? He says, "Name partha asti kartavyam trishu lokeshu kinchana." I have nothing that binds me to do something in all the 3 worlds. Here 3 worlds means everything in a Srishti. That means Urdhva Loka, Bhuloka, and Adholoka. All the lokas, there is nothing that I have to do because I'm not bound, right? I'm the independent cause. I'm not a jiva to be bound by karma, right? And he says, "Anavaptam, avaptavyam, varta evacha karmani." That means there is nothing that I already have that I need to get. Therefore, I need to act. There's nothing like that. So, what are the 2 prachodanas for actions? 2 motivations. Right? That which I don't have, that I need to get, and then that which I have to do. Right? 2 things. Right? Kartavya, that means even though I don't like, I have to do because it needs to be done. Or that I need to get something, therefore I need to do. 2 things. That's what Krishna is saying. Those two are absent in me. There's nothing that I require that I don't already have, that I need to get from creating the world, or sustaining the world, or destroying the world. There's nothing there. But even then, he says, Varta eva cha karmani. I'm still doing actions. I'm still setting examples. So it is 10 steps higher than you. At least you are in the society, bound by the karma, and all of those things. You receive things from society. You are bound by the requirement to give back to society. All of those things are there. What for me? There is nothing that I need. There is nothing that I want. But still, I am doing karma and setting example so that people learn from it. Okay? So now, a little bit of epistemology. Just because this talks about two things about God. That God has no kartavya, and there is no desire to get anything, because what? Aptakama. God is called, aptakama. Aptakama means he who has everything, attained everything that he already desires. There's nothing that he needs that he already doesn't have. Right? So, two things. He's talking about two things. Two prachodanas for karma, two motivator factors for karma is absent in Paramatma. Now the question would be, epistemologically, why did God create the world? And then we'll go into what kind of an example is he setting in this world.
To perform his duties.
He's saying, I don't have any karma, I'm in kartavya, so there's no duties. He has no duties. God has no duty. There's no concept of duty, right? He's mukta, he's free.
For his own play.
For his own play, that's what I mean.
What does that mean?
It means is he wants to perform action through the people, or he wants the people.
Why? Because what Krishna is saying, na anavaptam avaptavyam. There is nothing that I don't have already that I need to get. So what is God getting by creating, sustaining, destroying, jnana, ajnana, bandha, moksha? What is he getting from all this? From the whole, activity of nature. What does he get?
Then the nature will be stopped. Nothing will be running.
It's fine. Right?
Yes.
You said something.
Balance.
Why does he need balance? He basically is saying, Krishna is saying, I don't need anything. That extra, He's bored. Oh, he's bored.
Maybe he's trying to, because we're all considered part of himself, right? So
Somebody's
teaching
playing.
everybody to get back to get back to your home.
No, that is a different thing. When you say we are all part of God, it is a different thing. It's not that we are really part, as in, one half of God or something, or nothing like that.
Creation doesn't end, right? It's already created. So
Never began, never ends.
So to keep it going, there has to be some karma somewhere.
No, but that's fine. But why does God need to create, first of all? There is no need. See, action requires a motivation, and God has no motivation.
You set us as an example that if he has to do it, then we have to do it.
Why? That's what I'm asking. What is a motivation for action? An action needs a motivation. I'm asking, what is the motivation for God to create the world, or even sustain the world?
If we are not born, we will not even know that we existed.
So, what is he getting?
He doesn't get
That's the thing.
He gets to see us.
Question is,
It's like getting
He's getting to see us.
That's the biggest question.
See, again, all of these things, that means that he doesn't have those things already that he needs to create to get it. So he's saying, I'm Aptakama. I have everything I need for all times. Because he is infinite, right? Infinite, we cannot even think about what infinite is. Infinite means everything, right? That means there is no deficiency of any kind. He doesn't need to do this so that he needs to see your face. No. He can- But what is he getting out of it? That's
He
basic.
doesn't get anything.
So That is
I think the
Isn't it
answer
for us?
is in the question.
huh?
The answer is in the question. When God said that I don't need to do this, but still I am here, I am doing it.
Right.
So he's setting up a role model.
No, not just role model. Yeah, here he's talking about role model.
Yeah, he's
But-
setting up a model for Arjun.
See, there is a third motivator of action that he's not said here, but it is in the Upanishads. Right? And the third motivation of action, it occurs in in the Brahma Sutras. There is a sutra called Lokavattu Leela Kaivalyam. Because in different Upanishads, the Upanishad thinkers are thinking, why did God create world? What deficiency did He have? No, He is infinite, so there cannot be any deficiency. He is Anandamaya, He is blissful, His infinite bliss, His infinite potency. All of these are infinite. So what does He lack? So that He needs to make up by creating the world. And then they say, Lokavattu Leela Kaivalyam. It is His Leela. You know what is Leela? What is a Leela?
Like Maya.
No, what? Leela. Play means what? What is a play?
Drama or whatever.
No. Leela has a specific meaning. What is Leela? Leela means activity that arises out of bliss. That means unmatta iva. That means a person, if he is very, very happy, for no reason, he starts singing. If you ask, why did you sing? I was happy, I sang. That is the reason. Right? Huh? What?
Like you were saying, you were almost there. That's what I was telling.
Oh yeah.
It was Krishna Leela.
Yeah, Kamlesh, yeah. Yeah. So that is the thing. So that is the third motivation of action. Right? That is, Ananda is itself a motivation for action. The reason, the cause for action. Just like a person who is very, very happy, doesn't lack anything, starts singing, starts dancing. For what reason? Does he lack anything? No. He's singing, he's dancing because he doesn't lack anything. He's very, very happy. And it's an expression of happiness. So what is the reason that God created the universe and keeps on creating? Is nothing but His expression of Ananda. That's it. There is no other lack, there is no other cause, motivation, nothing.
But would you say that gives him some sort of pleasure? That's what he's getting at?
No, it is not pleasure. No. It is not the cause of pleasure. It is a result of pleasure. Yeah.
But by doing it, it makes him happy.
No. He is already happy, therefore he is doing it. See, that's the thing. See, if you lack happiness, you do something, you gain it, that means you lack something. Krishna is saying, there's nothing that I lack, I'm infinite. That means there's no deficiency.
So why did He create an imperfect creation?
What do you mean by imperfect creation?
I mean, it's not.
Anything other than God is imperfect by its very nature. So
Why imperfect? Why can't He create something
that's
perfect?
the nature of the things. I mean, see, there is nothing in the creation that He holds dear, nor does He hate. I mean, we'll see that in chapter 4, 5 and all of those things. There is nobody dear to Him, nor nobody who He hates. Right? It is. He says, how you approach me, that
You create both good and bad. Rakshasas and Devatas.
yeah, because that's the way they treat Him, that's the way He treats them. So there is no inherent, if you look at Abrahamic religions, like if you say Judaism, in Judaism, God favors one tribe of people, the Jews. Right? That is bias. Right? In the sense of the thinking of having one favorite group, be good or bad, whatever it is, you follow 10 rules, you're in my good books. There's nothing like that.
God created a balanced one and we made imbalanced.
You are saying God is Trikalagnya. Didn't He know that you're creating the imbalance? No, there is no explanation other than Ananda. Because when you say He's omnipotent, omnipresent, omniscient, that means if you create something, you should know that in 100 years He's going to be bad. Right? So there is nothing you can say with that He did not know at the time of creation.
When this Upanishads and all were existing,
Yeah.
the theory of evolution was not there, right? People thought everybody were created all at once.
No.
No? They still thought there is
Well, then we have to do that Hindu creation of theory, no? I mean, theory of creation, no?
Yeah, because it started in small cells and then...
It is not like that,
Yeah.
but very similar. There's a 9, different ways that creation happens, in 9 steps. Creation happens in 9 steps, and the final step is human beings. Maybe next class we'll do that. Creation and how it happened and all of those. But Tiriyak Shrotas, that is, first creation when the world happened was the creation of plants. Second creation is creation of animals, and the final creation is creation of man. That is the Arvak Shrotas, that means whose elementary canal is from top down. Whose first creation is the creation of elementary canal, that is bottom up, plants. And the second is it is side to side, animals. And then final creation is top down, man.
But does this also include the concept of yugas, like, all the yugas that come, Kali, all that stuff?
Yeah. So we'll do that. Ever since I've done this before, as part of Kathopanishad and all that. But we can do it. That's fine.
Creation and destruction, they are continuous.
Yes.
Never ends at all.
Never began, never ends.
In several times in the Earth's lifespan,
Yeah.
creation was there and got destroyed and then started
Yeah,
again.
yeah. Not just that. Again, that is itself a cycle. There's a bigger cycle than that's a smaller cycle. Okay, so na avaptam avaptavyam varta evacha karmani. So right? So now he's saying, I don't lack anything, but still I am acting. Why am I doing it? Yadi hi aham navarteyam jatu karmani atandritaha mama vartma anuvartante manushyaha partha sarvashaha. If yadi hi aham, if I did, navarteyam, did not act, then what happens? Jatu karmani atandritaha, with complete attachment to action, active in this life. If I did not act, then what happens? Mama vartma anuvartante. People will follow my path. They'll say, hey, yeah, you know what? Krishna did that. I think he said, if God himself has done it, why can't I do that? You give that example. If that great man you say did that, then I should also follow that example. So he says, Mama Vartma Anuvartante. People, nothing there for me. It causes me no harm, but it will cause harm to people. Because they'll say, I will follow his path, I will follow his example. Mama Vartma Anuvartante, Manushyaha Partha Sarvashaha, all of mankind. Utsideyur ime lokaha nakuryam karmachedaham. I will destroy the generations of people if I do not indulge in activities. Right? Utsideyur ime lokaha nakuryam karmachedaham sankarasya chakartasyam upahanyami imaha prajaha. Sankara, what is Sankara? What is Sankarya? Sankara means mix. Sankara. It's not Sangama. Sankara. Some. Adulteration. Exactly. Adulteration. Yes. Sankara. Sankarya means getting adulterated. What he's saying is, if I do not set an example, then the good people will be adulterated with the Swabhava Sankarya with evil people. If I do not set an example, the good will be adulterated with evil. Right? Paritranaya sadhunam vinashaya cha dushkritam dharma samsthapanaya sambhavami yuga yuga. So, sadhu paritrana is also needed. Good should be protected and the evil should be destroyed. If I don't do that, if I don't set an example to do that for people, what happens? Good does not know what to do, and then they get adulterated by evil. Now my question to you is, what kind of karma did the avatars do? Huh?
Bad karmas created avatars to come back again.
No. Vishnu avatars. No. he has no, he's saying, I don't have anything, he's no kartavya, so there's no bad karma for God. There's nothing like that. But what is the example that God sets in his avatars? He sets two examples. What are those? Very important. This is very important. Okay. So this avatara, there are two kinds of examples that God sets in his avatars. What are those?
Follow the path of good.
No. Good is fine, yeah. And then?
Follow the path of dharma.
Right?
And destroy the evil.
Exactly. Right? That's what, and in the Bhagavata they call it Balakarya, Jnanakarya. So, there is a Jnanakarya and there is a Balakarya. Two kinds of things that happens in different avatars. Jnanakarya happened solely, for example, Vedavyasa Avatara, Kapila, right? Dattatreya, all of these, Krishna, these come to spread knowledge, to give guidance to people, to spread, that is Jnanakarya. Right? Balakarya is to destroy the evil. Krishna again, Jnanakarya, Balakarya both. He destroyed so many evil of his times and also established knowledge for the future. Right? So both happened. Rama, Balakarya. Right? All the Matsya, Narsimha, Balakarya. Right? Parshurama, Balakarya. Some of them might have a little, for example, Matsya. If you go to Matsya Purana, there is a section where he teaches Vaivasvata Manu some concepts. So Jnanakarya is there, not that famous, but a lot of Balakaryas are there. Parshurama, Rama, all of those things. And different avatars where it is Jnanakarya. So these two are what? Essential examples to be set in society. Right? One of the sayings is Dharma Jnana Balena Bhuja Balena Rakshate. Dharma is protected by Jnana Bala, not just by knowledge, but by the strength of your arms too. Both. Two wheels of a chariot. One without the other is unsustainable. You need strength and you need knowledge. Both. And Krishna sets the examples for two. Both of them. Different avatars set example for one. Some of these. In some of them, it is both together. So we need both. We need Jnanakarya and we need Balakarya both. Look at the example where one was there without the other. Can you give me one example of where Jnana was there but no Bala?
When the British attacked India, we did not have the Bala.
Yes.
When the Muslim invaders came, we did not.
Exactly. That is very relevant. See, today's Pakistan, Afghanistan.
We had strength, but we were divided.
Right? Today's Afghanistan, Pakistan, at around 1000 AD, they were thriving centers of what? Buddhism. Right? Buddhism was thriving in Afghanistan. Right? That Bamiyan Buddha. Where did that come from? Buddhism was thriving there, but they were intellectual centers. Right? No Balakarya there. Nobody there to protect people. Nobody there to fight. Right? Nobody there to stop the evil in the tracks. What happened? What is there today? Completely destroyed. Nothing is there, right? Everything is destroyed. So what happens when there is only Bala, no Jnana? Is there an example of that? I would say India. Today is India, right? No, there is no Bala, no Jnana.
No, I think UK also to extent some extent.
UK Nirbala. No, right? UK at one point, correct, right? Colonization at that time, there's Bala. The Jnana, industrialization happened after colonization.
But the knowledge, industrialization.
Yeah, that came after Bala. So Bala was the first. So, see, if you have one without the other, it's an imbalance that causes chaos. You need the sword And they say you need the sword and the danda. Danda is the for the sannyasa danda. So you need both. You need at one hand sword, the other hand the sannyasa danda. The learning and the strength to defend. Both.
America is probably what has both right now in terms of knowledge.
Yeah, different kind of knowledge. Yeah, but Bala definitely. Right? So that is the kind of example that Krishna is setting. Right? Krishna is saying, hey, you need the strength of the arms. Bhujabalena dharmo rakshate, jnanabalena dharmo rakshate. Right? It's not just the strength of the arms. You need the strength of the mind as well to sustain and to set good examples. So you got to have examples that mimic this in society, that inspire us to do this and to do this. That is what the role model that Krishna is setting through his avatars.
There is a saying in Hindi, Chadi Chamcham Vidya Gungam.
What does that mean?
Chadi Chamcham Vidya Gungam.
Chadi, okay.
Chadi is Bala. Vidya is
You're saying to gain your knowledge, is that what you're saying?
Oh, that's Dandam Dashagunam Bhavet. Right? So,
Sunil, is that the reason why all the goddesses we see both?
is what?
All the deities,
Yeah.
we always have a weapon in one hand and
Exactly, right? If you look at, there are different significations to all of those things, but there is an Abhaya Mudra, right? Each one of the pose means something. If Vyasa is holding like this, what is this? Jnana Mudra. He's preaching. But Abhaya Mudra is giving Abhaya, protecting, right? Then Varada Mudra, giving money. That is also important. And then in another hand, there will be a sword saying, hey, evil, I'm going to destroy you. So all of those, you can have a Jnana Mudra in one hand and a sword in another hand. So both of them are essentially, they are essential for balance. If not, it's going to be imbalance and eventually social collapse. Right? So that's the Jnanakarya and Balakarya. I think you have a few minutes. Any questions? I think because the next one is kind of a different topic. The same thing, but he moves on to a different thing. But essentially, what we have seen today is the importance, very, very critical, to have the correct role models, because in vacuum, people who are not fit to be that occupy those spaces, which we don't want. And once that space is occupied by people who are not fit to occupy that, your future generations are destroyed. That's one. The two is you need Jnanakarya as well as Balakarya, to have a sustained social evolution kind of thing. That is, Dharmo Jnana Balena Bhuja Balena Rakshate. You need the strength of the mind as well as the strength of the arms to protect Dharma. One without the other is going to cause collapse.
so in Gita, is there any verse that actually explains what the role model should be rather than
Next few shlokas.
okay.
How you need to go about being a role model is in the next few shlokas. And it's very, very good, because we'll probably hit upon conversion. Right? Should the role model convert the other guy? Krishna says no. How do you need to do things without even touching the other guy? All of those things come in the next few shlokas. Very interesting, because he says, Na buddhi vedam janayat ajnanam karmasanginam joshayat sarvakarmani. He says, that means, do not confuse the other guy. You need to set an example. So, people do what we do, not what we say. Things like that. But we'll pick up that in the next class. I think it is in 3 weeks, right? The next class is November 10th. But, yeah, it's probably. So, but any of you, if you're not in my mailing list and want to be, I send out a reminder, on Fridays before the class with a small summary of what we're going to study, and I can send you guys to. Okay, let's finish with the shloka. Om Vasudeva Sutam Devam Kamsa Chanura Mardanam Devaki Paramanandam Krishnam Vande Jagadgurum. Om